official government officials. Hey.
The officials.
Listen to that. Shh, official government officials.
Doesn't get more official than that.
This is the Bar Up Show with Rafael Cruz from the studios of Miami Strength Club in North Miami, Florida, bringing you the information, stories, and solutions to increase your strength so you can lead a better life for yourself and the people around you.
We're able to schedule it and make it happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Lior Barhai, and he's a good friend. And in this episode, I think I'm going to try my best to, let you know how good of a friend he is. I don't think I'm as good of a friend to him as he is to me. But we are trying to work on that. Lior, tell us about yourself, man. What's up?
Yeah, thank you for the wonderful comments, and appreciate it. I do find you as a good friend as well. But yeah, my name is Lior Barhai. I'm Miami native, first generation American. Both my parents are from Israel, so I'm Jewish. I'm an entrepreneur. I have co-founded a startup in agriculture technology, where we're making tech for indoor farms, the future of agriculture.
Indoor farmers?
Yes.
Who are the indoor farmers?
The ones that are growing in locally, ones that are growing right by your city.
Okay. Is this like if I'm looking at walking around the city, indoor farming? Where are they? Like logistically, who am I looking for? Is it a hippie guy with a bun or some grandpa that understands the technology? Who are these people? Who
actually, we're like 50% of the indoor farmers now are under the age of 50, which is great for the industry. But when you're walking around the city, I mean, you're not going to notice it. It's either going to be like warehouses right outside the city, or we're working with one farm with shipping containers right in the middle of Overtown, which is next to Brickell.
Wow.
So yeah, just right there.
Okay.
So it's freshly cut and delivered right to restaurants, right to your door.
That's amazing.
Yeah, as opposed to the stuff you get from the grocery store. If you look at the label, that came from California. And it spent half its life on a truck. It's not fresh.
That's true. So I guess the when you see labels like grown locally, you are behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're supporting those people, supporting those farmers, and really trying to make them, have access to data that they haven't seen before.
Amazing. Dude, it's let me go back once again and say this is so special to have you here. I mean, I said it 3 times already.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
But the good vibes still kind of like coming waves. Listen, I really want to establish a couple of things for the audience and for ourselves. I definitely want to talk about learn a lot about you. I find you a very interesting young man, pretty much a role model.
Thank you.
We have many conversations, and you have your head well put together. Kudos to you. Kudos to your family. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to the fam.
Shout out to the fam, and tell us about you. Like so you were a Miami native, and how was it growing up here in Miami as a child?
Yeah, so it was a great experience.
Yeah,
I wouldn't trade it for anything. I grew up playing sports, always playing outside, riding bikes, and then I got into football. So I started playing flag football, got into a national travel team where we won nationals, really toured the country, and then even got a chance to fly to China to teach flag football to a couple schools there. We went for like 2 weeks. It was an amazing experience. I was like 14 at the time.
That's great. For the benefit of those that what is tag football like, or how is that different from?
So flag football, you basically have 2 flags hanging by your waist, and basically that's how you get tackled. Someone pulls your flag off. So it's a lot more hip movement, a lot more footwork, which really set the foundation for me getting into tackle football.
Okay.
So then I got into tackle football, played high school ball, got recruited to play D3 football up in Pittsburgh, at Carnegie Mellon University. During my tackle football career is when I really got into lifting. I noticed that if I put work in the gym, I play a lot better. Right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
squat more weight, I could run through people. So that was a quick connection I made, and
Are you listening?
yeah. I squatted a lot. Actually, I think senior year I got my squat up to like 405, which was very heavy.
Yeah.
Did it once, and that was bad.
What body weight were you then?
I was probably like 170.
Okay.
170.
Wow. So that's 2.5 your body weight.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
I'm not doing that now anymore.
Okay.
But that was probably the peak of most of that squatted. But yeah, my legs were strong. I was running through people, and I made the connection, right? I put the work in the gym, put the work on the field. At game time, I play a lot better. And that's when I started training with someone here locally called Bomarito. They do, training outdoors for specifically for football.
Yeah.
And as well as indoor training as well.
Awesome.
That was up until my college career. And then in college, I fractured my hip, which was a tough loss for me.
Yeah.
It was a weird fracture. Like the tendon ripped the bone off my hip.
Oh, wow.
It's called like a stress fracture.
Yeah. I've heard of that. I've seen that in the literature and whatnot.
It was rough. I couldn't do anything for 6 months. Right. At least I was able to walk, but
Yeah.
they're like, don't do anything. So that was pretty much the end of the career.
How was the let's say, I guess medically they reattached it, they put it back together? I mean, wow.
They didn't do anything.
Huh.
They just kind of let it heal on its own and just said, don't touch it. I think it happened, over time of, just pushing my body a little bit too hard.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a little bit of a curse, a little bit of a blessing.
Okay.
That kind of ended my college career. Took a hiatus from working out. Studied mechanical engineering. Got my degree in 4 years. And then after I graduated, I co-founded our company, Envonix, which we spoke about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That was in July 2019.
Okay. So that's a couple of years ago.
Yeah, about
Yeah.
exactly 2 years ago.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. That's when I met you and you told me you had a startup and whatnot, and you pretty much gave me a condensed version of everything you've mentioned here.
Right.
I was really excited that you joined the club. By the way, let me make a segue here and say that we are recording from the studios of in North Miami, Miami Strength Club, and this is where we met, and Lior became a member, a long-term member of Miami Strength Club, and he's been training here for some time.
Yeah.
So that's how we met. So when I met you, I was really, really glad that you became a part of the club, and more importantly than that you found a home for your training, because obviously I knew you meant business.
Yeah, I came to work.
Yeah, I knew you meant business. I was like, wow. What do you remember from our first days? I know I made time to listen, people. This guy, Lior, what time you wake up?
5.
All right. What time are you in the gym?
5:15.
Yeah.
5:30.
All right. Let me say that. You wake up at 5 and you're at the gym at 5:15.
Yeah.
Now, if you think about what level of procrastination is happening here, there's none.
I can't have it.
There's none.
There's not
Right.
enough time in the day for that.
Right. So I knew right there and then. You're like, okay, you mean business.
Yeah.
What do you remember about our first few sessions together?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I went to a different gym first. So I moved back here like a month before I joined the club.
Right.
And I saw the place and I was kind of intimidated by it. There was like barbell lifting. I don't know. I'm used to like bodybuilding lifting and focusing on the small muscles. Like, I don't know. But then I kind of just started seeing, peeked my head inside a little bit, popped in and just like, yo, what's up? What's good with this place? And then it really looked like a club, not just a gym where everybody could just show up and no one really knows each other. I think everyone here knows each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is you know, you have a team here. You have like a little culture here, which is amazing. You know, it motivates everyone to be here. So I love that part of it. And then you spent some time with me. You came in early with me.
Yeah.
You know,
And specifically for you.
yeah. And I was like, okay, this coach is serious. This is going to be a good time. And one of the great things is that I could be here at 5:15.
Yeah.
Right. That you do provide that access, which is great. And then introduce me to, hey, you know, you just got to do these basic movements and you can move some serious weight. And I was ready to change it up.
You were. Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I was doing bodybuilding for a while, and I was like, okay, kind of getting boring. Let's switch it up. Let's challenge myself.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember, and this is you know, quite important because it is your journey, your history.
Yeah.
And you know, given everything you said, you know, there's no hesitation here. You're looking for the best.
Yeah,
I know that you're looking for the best. So I know that you've done some bodybuilding, some, you know, body splits.
Yeah.
And that's, let me say something, that's a very good and viable way of programming, and at the very least that's my opinion.
Yeah.
But it comes a point in training journeys where you want to switch it up a little bit, and when it comes to adding muscle,
Yeah.
compound movements like the squats, the deadlifts,
Right.
the bench press, and let's put it this way, variations, you know, the traditional movements and the variations of those movements, and I said bench press and overhead press and so on and so on. Those are fantastic because they are not focused on isolating muscles, which is a viable and long-standing technique of bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But these are more synergistic ways of training where you work on a set of you know, know-hows, let's put it this way, to develop a skill, and then as you progress that skill in the amount of weight that you're able to lift, then your body changes through that.
Right.
And that's where I wanted to lead you on to when you started here.
Yeah. I mean, you know, switching from bodybuilding to those, you know, compound movements, you know, it felt like a transition to more athletic training. Felt more of an athlete, a more well-rounded athlete, right? I can move better, right? I can support my body better. I can do different things now. You know, whereas, you know, when you're doing traditional bodybuilding, like, you're just sore in that one area.
Right.
Now I'm sore in the whole body, so it's a different story. But it's good. And yeah, and then, like we were talking about before, it was deadlifting. I didn't really do much of that. I did some, you know, straight leg deadlifting for hamstrings. But then once I started getting into deadlifting, I asked you a bunch of questions about technique, making sure, you know, I was doing it right, because I wanted to go up in weight, because I felt myself like, hey, I could move some weight if I do this right.
Right.
And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, you set me up with a 8-week program that really introduced me to, you know, the splits. Basically, I think you had, you know, like deadlift and bench press. You know, and then,
you know, when you started, I was inspired with a program that I tailored for you.
Awesome.
But it was inspired. I mean, I personalized it for you.
Right.
But it was inspired, and I think I shared that later on with you, on the barbell medicine.
Right.
What they call it, the bridge, because you were somewhat right there. You were not a beginner lifter.
No.
You had several rounds of experience.
Mm-hmm.
and athletic performances, successful athletic performances that you know led you here. So I didn't want to bother you too much with needless beginnery.
Right.
You know,
yeah, you just threw me right into it.
Yeah,
you just say, "Yo, here are the workouts. Let's go."
Right, because you know, as a coach, and you know, I say this humbly because I had to figure out ways to connect.
Right.
And
It's great that you're doing that. Some people don't.
And I've made so many mistakes. I mean, like I take this other round of opportunity to apologize for the people that I failed in the past, and I don't say that, you know, with so much remorse, but gratefulness that you know you took the goods and moved on, And for me, I also took the goods and moved on. So, when it comes time to connect,
Right.
you have to find out some way of motivating some, people. And I knew that the babysitting for you was not going to be it.
Yeah.
I kind of knew that.
Yeah.
So, I put you with a program that was a journey of discovery for you, and you excelled at it, man. You excelled.
Yeah, great time.
You have some sort of recollection of your numbers, some sort of like highlights.
Yeah, I think I got my deadlift to like 315.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, that was. I think I did like 4 or 5 reps of those. Squat, I got up to I think 285.
Yeah.
I wanted to get a 315. My training kind of dwindled a little bit, and training alone at 5 in the morning.
Right.
I need some spotters at least if I'm gonna go that way. Yeah, those were. And then my bench, I got up to about 205.
Sweet.
Which was nice for me because my bench was always my weakest. But yeah, my bench had the biggest improvement, I think. I was the most surprised with. But
Okay.
the deadlift was the heaviest weight that I was able to move.
Sweet.
And you gave me exactly what I was looking for, which was like a program that pushed me in a different direction that I haven't been in. And I think that's important to point out just in general. I was doing the bodybuilding thing, and it kind of got boring. And I think when people do something for too long, they start to get bored of it, and then they stop doing it, right? And that's when you lose the gains, and that's when the consistency stops. So for me, it's always finding new challenges, new things that haven't done before. Take me a little bit out of my comfort zone, and really up the challenge skill ratio. Something a little bit more challenging than my skills can handle.
Yeah.
But enough for me to move towards that challenge. So the coming here and moving into barbell training, into compound movements, that was a big transition for me because I wasn't just doing chest flies anymore.
Right.
I wasn't doing that anymore. Right, it was new movements, learning the new technique. So it probably took me like 3 weeks to get that technique down for all the movements.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you started sharing me the other content, articles. We went back and forth a couple times, which was very useful for me.
Yeah.
And then I started getting a hang of it and started pushing myself, started going higher in weight, working out for longer. And yeah, I think, challenging yourself and finding new challenges is an amazing way to, just continue to progress. So for example, like right now I'm not training here because I'm not living close to here. So my new challenge is cycling. Which is totally different type of body,
That's right.
body
You got a
composition.
bicycle. You told me, right?
Yeah. So I got a road bike, and what I'm training for is a bike ride, a 350-mile bike ride, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Washington, D.C. I'm doing it with 9 other people.
Okay.
Yeah, so training for that, which is totally different type of workout than I've ever been
That's
doing.
endurance.
Endurance training. Yeah, so like I'm ready for my body to change, and seeing the change a little bit, getting a little leaner. My muscles are getting longer.
I can see veins in your future.
Veins popping out of my neck. So that's like a new challenge right now, and that's because I'm in a different environment. I have this new opportunity to try something new, and I was like, you know what, let's do it.
Tell me about it. I mean, so there's 9 other people, and so it's a nice pack of 10.
Yeah, I think we're either total 9 or a
Oh,
pack of 10.
okay.
Don't really know the numbers, but it's my friends from college.
Okay.
A bunch of them live either in Pittsburgh or DC. So they were planning this trip since probably like 6 months. And then a couple weeks ago, my buddy was like, "Hey, if you want to join us, you're willing to join. Go ahead." So bought a road bike and just started training for it. So it's like a 4-day trip, 3-day trip, doing around like 60 to 80 miles a day.
Wow.
Which is like 6 hours on a bike.
Is there any specific kind of supplementation that you're looking for? Something, what have you been? Because look, this is really exciting. I don't have much of the details from this. So what are your shifts? Nutritionally, since you are taking this kind of training, supplementation. What are the sensations post workouts, pre workout?
Yeah, we can jump into that. One thing actually you told me a lot to do was to eat carbs.
Yeah.
Eat carbs. So now I'm eating a lot more carbs. It's just challenging for me. I always thought carbs were good, but not too much. but I wasn't eating enough carbs. Like I'm not taking enough calories, so I'm working on that. But yeah, eating a lot more oatmeal, a lot more, sweet potatoes, more rice. Really getting that carb intake, increasing my carb content.
Good.
To allow my muscles to endure that long distance, that endurance training.
Good.
And then in terms of supplementation, while you ride, every like 45 minutes, try to take a carb supplement with electrolytes.
Good.
It's like 20 to 30 grams of carbs with some electrolytes. Basically, it's like a gel pack. So those are the two things that big change for me in my training. Protein still about 180 grams. And fats around 100 grams.
Great.
And then
great.
carbs pushing 220.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's working.
Yeah.
That's working.
Yeah.
Which specific gel packs, any brands, anything that suits you right now? I mean,
So I'm still trying them out.
Okay.
My buddy gave me one at SIS. I think it's sports something science, science and sports maybe. Tried those. I actually tried one today. Biked about like 20 miles. And yeah, it feels good when you're going halfway and then you just get like a boost of energy. All of a sudden your muscles are recharged. You actually feel it, which is the craziest part.
Oh, yeah.
You don't expect it the first time, and then okay, this actually works.
yeah.
So yeah, still experimenting with that. Again, just also trying to stay hydrated as much as I can. Try to drink about a gallon of water a day.
All right. Well, yeah, with this kind of output and
Right.
performance, yeah, you definitely, your body wants it. Your body wants
Yeah.
it. Well, this is super exciting, man. It's super exciting because, your performance. I mean, I'm really stoked because from a geek side standpoint, it's like you're all the all around athlete, and you can transition between.
That's the challenge, right? That's the challenge right there.
Yeah.
It's just transitioning and figuring out how your body can do it and doing it right.
That's absolutely. It reminds me. I mean, I'm almost twice your age.
Yeah. almost.
Which puts me on barely senior territory somewhat.
Nah, you're not there, man.
Nah. Well, I mean, I can still do 225 for warm-ups.
Okay.
On
yeah.
bench.
Yeah, you got me on that. I didn't even touch that.
No, but listen, these stats have nothing to do with bragging, but just kind of like where a healthy man with some experience in lifting should be at a 250 pound body weight, which I'm talking about me. I'm 250 pound. I have some few years of experience lifting, and
Few? You got more than a few. Come on, man.
and 225 pounds. It's just any day now. Really,
That's lightweight.
Depends on the day.
If you had enough carbs that morning.
Depends on the day, but it's a few sets of 10.
Right.
It's a few sets of 10. It's nothing to write home about at 250.
No. Right.
At 250, most experienced lifters, most consistent experienced lifters at 250 pounds are benching nonchalantly 315 plus.
Easy.
Yeah, easy. It's
I mean, that kind of fits with like the same ratio. Like I'm 160 right now.
right.
Warm up 135. Go up to like 190, almost 200.
Yeah. So let's see. Tell me a little bit about your school. How was school for you? Why did you jump into, what you do now? I mean, what were you reading, watching something, and you go like, you just like your veggies so much? What's the deal?
Yeah, I'll tell you our vision for the company, and then we could dive into how we got started. So our vision is really to help humanity get access to locally grown produce through self-sustaining smart farming. So really being able to get your produce, basically all your vegetable needs, from somewhere that was harvested that day, right, and not 2 weeks before, right? Because that's the freshest, that's peak nutrition, No pesticides, no chemicals, no GMOs. Just natural, good food, whole foods, and that's part of training. And same thing.
Yeah.
It's so important to fuel your body. Like, to me, food is fuel. That's how I look at it. So what better way to peak perform than fuel yourself with the best of the best.
The best of the best. That's right.
Yeah.
That's. I don't think important does justice to the meaning of what you said. It really, from someone who doesn't understand anything deep of science, and I really don't. I really hold that as a truth. But my curiosity is out, is out there, and
Right.
from what you just said, it's so important, because the levels of concepts built in on your company's mission
Yeah.
are just mind blowing. Because yes, and food is energy, food is fuel, but you put that fuel into yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
That's how
right.
you fuel yourself.
Right, and the kinds of adaptations, if you will, if you think about cause and effect, putting that level of quality food on your family's table. I mean, not only forget about your own training. I mean,
Right.
we're talking about your kids. I mean,
Right.
I have a 5-month-year-old. She's gonna be 5 months in 3 days.
Right.
And we're starting to feed her vegetables, and I'm really concerned about. This is where I'm like, okay, you know what, 100% organic.
Right. Yeah. Go the organic.
You know,
Yeah. But even organic, a little bit questionable nowadays.
Well, yeah, but
But it's better. But it's better. I'll give you that. It's
right,
better.
it's better, but right, especially nowadays. It used to be something else.
Right.
But there, there's the concern. That's why I'm thinking in layers here.
Right.
It's your family, man. It's you, it's your family, it's your loved ones.
Absolutely.
Who's selling this now locally? What are your people, your clients, anybody selling that commercially available, or is that?
Yeah, I could. There's this one company called Hammock Greens. They're down in Brickell. There's another one called Box Greens. Local, like they're both growing in shipping containers, and you can order if you find their websites, or just look in their social. They usually have farmers markets on the weekends, and you can get their produce.
Right.
Fresh lettuce, no sprays,
Okay.
anything like that.
Let me. What after the question of who is doing this? This may have to be edited, maybe not.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to know, because I asked without maybe prepping the question,
Okay.
or prepping the question enough. I thought, are these people that are related to you, or just random anybody else is doing?
So, like, are we working with them right now?
Yeah.
Yes, we're working with the Hammock Greens.
Okay.
The other one, Box Greens, no, I just know them. We've spoken a couple times, but I see them a lot at the farmers markets.
Okay. Sweet.
So yeah, if you want to find that locally fresh, there's a ton of farms down here in South Florida, in the Redlands and the Homestead, and they go to farmers market. Like, that's part of how they make a living.
Right.
So if you can find a farmer market near you, usually on Saturday and Sundays, you'll find some fresh, locally grown, maybe not indoors, but locally grown, and like some good solid produce with high nutrition. There's one that just opened here in Aventura. I think farmers market it's called.
If you say, I mean, that's I'm thinking as a consumer.
Yeah.
Myself. So I mean, I guess my question is somewhat informed, but I'm trying to put my shoes on somebody looking for you. I mean, like, I have a farm, or I'm trying to
Right.
start some sort of local farming and whatnot. Who are these people? I know I kind of like wanted to ask at the beginning, how do they, who's there? And you said, people somewhat between 30 and 50 years
Right.
old, local here, kind of like on the outskirts of
The city.
of the city
Yeah.
and whatnot. But I'm here starting to trying to start a farm,
Right.
a local farm, or I already have one. How do they find you? Like what are they have to think about to be on a path to be working with you? To actually have some healthy crops the way you can help them.
Yeah, so we provide the technology to help grow the crops, right? So if let's say you want to start a farm, the first thing you need to figure out is what do you want to grow, right? You want to grow lettuce, you want to grow tomatoes, you want to grow peppers, what do you want to grow? And that will determine kind of the next few decisions of how do you grow it. You're growing it hydroponically, you're growing it in the ground. So hydroponically is growing it just in water without any soil. That's where we come in. That's where all the technology is needed, because now you're growing and you're basically controlling the environment and the food that the plants are getting once you remove all the soil. So once you have that established, what you're growing, how you're going to grow it, where you're going to grow it. You're going to grow it in a warehouse, you're going to grow it in a shipping container, you're going to grow it in a greenhouse. There's a lot of options on what you can do, right?
Okay.
And all the factors start with what are you growing. Then we come in with technology once you figured that out, specifically around hydroponics, and help you, understand what your plants are doing, what kind of food they're asking for. And you see that by, really monitoring their uptake in nutrients, really understanding, okay, if they're taking a lot of nitrogen, they need more nitrogen, right? They're in a phase where they need nitrogen. Same thing with me and you, right?
Right. Okay.
Right now I'm in a phase where I need more carbs, right?
Right.
And how do I tell I need more carbs? I don't have energy. But like if I had like a glucose monitor or, some smartwatch or something, it'll tell me a little bit more.
Right.
So that's kind of what we're providing, is like a real-time kind of monitor of the nutrients going into the plant.
That's so like straightforward the way you say it, to understand it, and yet, you go out there and you go to, I don't know, to the farmer's market or anywhere, and for people like me, who I'm just hungry and looking to get
Right.
as best food as I get, it's not straightforward, but that's huge. It's huge because all all organisms, let's put it that way, are subject to adaptations, and
Right.
and when you're talking about precision nutrition for plants,
Right.
for crops, I mean, that's as good as it gets. I mean,
Yeah.
We're really talking into engineering nutrition before it's on the table.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when you grow indoors, you're no longer relying on the weather. Right. So you can grow year round, and now you're in control. The technology you apply, you're controlling everything. Right. You want to give it the best condition for it to grow, and like each plant, each species requires different kind of temperature, humidity, nutrients.
Look, if I am a lending institution,
Yeah.
that's the kind of farm I want to
Yeah,
finance.
yeah.
I tell you that much. I mean, I don't want to necessarily go into the
Right.
the details of that, but it seems straightforward.
They exist, those lending institutions,
Okay.
specifically for agriculture. Yeah.
All right. Well,
They're there, so you can join them if you want. They're there.
I'll start with a couple of plants.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Man, this is it's so cool to learn more about what you do. What are the kind of like really exciting ways? I mean, this is exciting in and of itself.
Yeah.
But let's say the kind of like the science of your industry. Is there anything that is kind of like on the horizon there that you go like, oh man, in a few years when this is kind of like ready and being deployed in farms, and we can definitely help farms do this and do that. Are you excited about something like that in the horizon?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm excited about the whole field. About it's called controlled environment agriculture.
Okay.
And it's really just taking our traditional farming that we've been doing for 100 years, right, and kind of applying the technology that we have today. And finding ways to do it faster, to do it more consistently, to do it with less chemicals, to do it more naturally. It's super exciting because, soon all your food in your supermarkets are going to be coming from somewhere local, right? And not just one big farm in the middle of, America that spreads out to everybody.
And you know what? I mean, I don't know. For some reason, in my silly understanding of humanity. I imagine the whole globe with another 3-4 billion people,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you need this.
Right.
This, I mean, like, you need this. You can't have enough food being grown in only one particular location in your state or in your
Right.
country, because there's just not gonna be enough. You need, and besides, look at it. Look, if you're a patriot and you want to chip into your national security, have a local farm.
Yeah. Support your local farmers.
Support a local farmer, because, dude, that and your peace next to you.
Yeah. In
You know-
Florida, they're making it very easy to do that.
Yeah.
On some of the packaging, you'll see Florida Fresh.
Oh yeah, I
right?
see that.
So
I've seen
it was
that.
grown in Florida. That's local.
Yeah.
If we're going in the same state. That's
That's
great.
national security, man. I
Right.
mean, you think of the infrastructure,
Yeah.
of the things that can happen. Look at the pandemic, man. I
Yeah.
mean, we were having shortage. You couldn't find, and mind you, I know in the great scheme of things, chicken wings.
You can't get no chicken wings.
You know,
I thought you were gonna say toilet paper. You said chicken wings.
no, I mean, forget toilet paper.
We don't need toilet paper.
The toilet paper thing was what, some sort of I can't explain it. I don't want to go into explaining that, but
We'll talk about the chicken wings. That's
yeah,
fine.
but you couldn't find chicken wings. You couldn't find alcohol.
Right.
Isopropyl alcohol. You couldn't find things. So when you think of lines of distribution, local farming, the way you provide, this is not trivial. I mean, we're talking about having what you need when you need it, when shit goes down.
Right, and I think COVID highlighted that.
Yeah.
Which is why this industry is getting a lot of attention right now.
Absolutely. I mean, if I'm the mayor or the commissioner of a local community here and whatnot, I want to jump in on that.
Oh yeah.
I want to jump on that. I want to hear about projects, that developers and whatnot that probably are mindful and beyond mindful. More into making this vision happen, because this is how you really move forward into the future that it's
Right.
coming anyway.
Yeah, and you were talking about population before, right?
Mm-hmm.
By 2050, we're probably gonna be about like 10 billion people on this planet, right? We're gonna need 75% more food than we have now,
Wow.
and we're not gonna have enough land for that.
So we're still going to have chicken wing shortages?
We're gonna have chicken wing shortages. Now they're gonna be growing chicken wings.
They're going to be gross.
That's a serious issue. How can we produce that food for so many people?
Yeah.
And the answer is growing indoors, growing in locally. Being able to grow in 10,000 square feet the same as 40,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Because you can grow in stacks. You can grow on top of each other because now you're indoors. You're controlling everything.
I think I want to make this important industry and connect it in a non-trivial, in a very practical way to strength training and the world of fitness. Because look, it's not only about the quality, and without things being, let's say, GMO and whatnot, but let's just say there are lifters out there, and I respect that. We have to understand the differences between meat eaters and non-meat eaters.
Right.
In whichever denomination you want to put H2, whatever, it is my opinion. I love meat, but
Me too.
Yeah, but
I had some steak today.
I don't have to be preachy about it or anything, or and I highlight the benefits that somebody else might have eating other things that are non-meat.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of farming and nutrition for non-meat eaters, I mean, this has all the potential
Right.
and all the benefit out there. Because look, you definitely want the highest profile of nutrition,
Right.
as fresh as you can get it. And I mean, I know I've been hitting that hammer for a few minutes now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I mean,
but as someone, like I say, when I'm thinking of my family, dude, this
but
is
the
it.
best of the best.
Yeah.
Even as a meat eater, I still want to eat my vegetables.
Right.
I still want to have nutritional vegetables.
Yeah.
Right. And it all comes down to your life, right? You want to live healthy. You want to put the best fuel in you. So yeah,
Yeah.
Finding the most nutritious food for you, the way you think about it, that's the way to go.
Dude, I'm gonna kill you with what I'm gonna say next. But do you
Go.
think aliens are excited for this?
I think aliens are doing it already, man. I think they're doing it already. How do you think we're gonna get to Mars? How do you think we're gonna grow food on Mars?
That's it. This is it.
This
This is it. I mean,
This
you
is
you need to be able to, put something into space that is big enough. I mean, like, look, a lot of people. I saw this post on my Google feed.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. It might have been last night or a couple of nights ago. I don't know. And it said the most something akin of the 10 most influential sci-fi movies.
Mm.
And they were talking about Terminator, Alien, Back to the Future. I think they said something like not Mad Max. There's something else that is not Mad Max. I mean, a few of those
Right.
movies and whatnot. And I'm thinking, if you like Alien, if you're traveling across space, you need veggies.
Yeah, you gotta have your veggies, man. I mean, they're doing it already on the space station.
Yeah.
They're growing veggies there, and there's universities working with NASA and stuff to figure out how we can grow food on Mars.
Have you heard of the some generals or Pentagon and CIA and blah blah sort of like talking about aliens lately?
No, I
Like-
have not noticed that.
No?
No.
No, yeah. So
They're talking about them.
yeah, I mean, like, I don't have any sources other than what I hear, like in one of those. If you think about the most popular podcasts on YouTube and all the other platforms, they're talking about names like Joe Rogan,
Right.
Lex Friedman, the guys on Valuetainment,
Mhm.
Patrick Bet-David. They have their experts and blah blah, and apparently, official government officials, hey,
The officials.
listen to that. Shh, official government officials.
Doesn't get more official than that.
Government officials, they are pretty much directly admitting that there's things out there that they're not American, and that they don't consider them to be
From this planet.
from allies or enemies.
Right.
Like they don't know what it is.
Man. If we're here, I feel like there's got to be something else.
Just-
We're just one little planet, in a huge universe.
yeah.
You can't tell me there might not be another one like us.
It's weird because
And we're trying to do the same thing they're doing, right? Figuring out how to get off this planet.
to think things are made to escape. Things
Okay.
are made to escape. When they get to, I mean, let me try to explain that.
Yeah,
Let me try to
Tell
explain
me
that.
more about that.
I'm thinking. First of all, let me preface by saying this. Like I said earlier that my curiosity is pretty rampant out there.
Right.
I was probably 6 or 7 years old, and I was maybe bored, but annoyed or something. Whatever. And somebody asked me, "Are you bored?" And I'm like, "No, I'm never bored. I always have something in my mind."
Right.
And since then, that's something that I recognize about myself. Like I'm always thinking. I'm
Okay.
listening to music without having to play it from a radio.
Nice.
Like I can be thinking about so many things. So I'm thinking the other day that what's up with technology getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So I started looking things up, and apparently one of the challenges about building technology now, where things are in the nano spectrum,
Right.
nanoscale,
Nanoscale.
is that some of the conduits for energy, for electricity, are so small, like in a few atoms width, the
Yeah,
worth of,
it's super tiny.
yeah, they're super, super tiny, that now you have electrons not inside the cable, if you will. Now there's an electron outside of the cable.
Whoa.
Whatever, if you think about electricity being conductivity, conductor of
Right.
electricity, at the scale of regular things and everything that we can hold, of course that electricity, those electrons and those charges are inside the cable.
Yeah.
But if you start reducing that to the size of atoms, essentially, a few atoms at a time, Now you have electrons flying outside of the conduit.
Yeah, I mean that's what electricity is. It's electrons moving.
Right. So you think about, geez, at some level of manufacturing, if you will, whatever kind of manufacture, whatever thing you're doing, something's bound to escape, because if
Yeah.
you know. So I think things are made to escape. So we ought to escape this planet.
Yeah, I mean Elon Musk taking us there. I'll tell you that, man. Yeah, but did you see
What a guy.
the Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin? They took first commercial flight to space.
I
Both of
heard.
them.
I
That
heard.
was an awesome experience.
What was it, like 210,000 per
It's-
ticket?
Something like that, you know. But it was the first flight. One was Richard Branson with
Right.
Virgin Galactic, and there was Jeff Bezos with Blue Origin.
Right.
I mean, just amazing to think about. Being an astronaut was only for scientists and researchers. Now, anybody could be an astronaut. Anybody who can afford it could be an astronaut. But,
That's right.
Soon you're going to be taking trips, up to space to see.
Yeah, but that's pioneering, man. Because
it's amazing.
what was those dudes? The Wright brothers.
The Wright brothers, dudes that took flight.
Yeah.
I mean, think
And-
about these two guys. Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos. Like, they had a dream when they were young. I want to go to space. And they made it fucking happen.
Yeah, right.
Like, to me, I was so inspired watching that.
That's
You know?
incredible. I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the footage, but that's just to know that that's happening.
Like, they said, hey, I want to go to space on a commercial flight. And they made it happen. Like, bro, that should inspire anybody to do anything.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
I agree.
And that took me off.
And mind you, when you think about it, and I always think of aviation technology, just from the standpoint of, I don't want to die in a plane crash.
Right.
So when
You're more likely to die in a car than a plane. I'll
I
tell you
heard.
that. Those are stats. That's what I heard.
I
too.
travel my share every day. I live
Yeah.
50 minutes away, 50 minutes to an hour away from work.
That's tough.
Um,
You gotta move closer, man.
Dude, it's impossible. I mean, like,
Right now, yeah, you're
it's
not
im-
finding a house in Miami.
you
right
can't
now.
find
No.
anything. I mean, it's like
Unless you're playing premium or cash. You're not getting
exactly. We were paying premium in this area anyways. This is
Right.
twice premium.
Right. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And right now it's Miami Hack Week. I don't know if you know about that.
I don't know what that is.
Basically, I think it's like 10 houses that are sponsored by startups and companies. Basically having like hackathons, which is basically give a bunch of computer science programming majors a problem statement. Build an autonomous car, build autonomous
Oh.
something, and they spent the whole week just figuring out how to make one.
Where are they located now? Or this is something
this-
that just is an event that is like non-centralized event?
This is an event that's happening throughout this week
Mhm.
in Miami. It's called Miami Hack Week. And there's 10 locations. There's 10 different houses.
Okay. Wow.
All in like Wynwood and Miami Brickell area.
Is that something that people can like purchase tickets to, or just,
Yeah, you get a ticket to go to the house, I think, and there's tickets to like happy hours to network. There's keynote speakers and things like that. I haven't been to any events yet, but I've been following it. A lot of my network is going there. But yeah,
Sweet.
very cool happening down here, and that the whole point of that, I think, is to bring people down here for the Miami tech scene, to build the
right.
startups up, and that's just gonna raise prices, rent.
Oh, yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah, because many people know this, but I was surprised to learn the initiative, which has been that the major wants to make Miami kind of like the next Silicon Valley. Kind
Hey,
of
I'm
thing.
with. That's why I'm here, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
so they call it a Silicon Beach, and I like the
Silicon
name of
Beach.
that.
I like the name
Silicon
of that.
Beach, yeah, and it's great. It's a great time. I mean, San Francisco and California is super saturated. Startups in New York, everyone got out of there during COVID.
Yeah.
Houston's another spot, but what's better than Miami?
Nothing.
Nothing. I haven't seen anything better than Miami.
I was in New York. I arrived to New York when I was 15 years old. I've told that story in other podcasts. But long story short, my first time in Miami, I think I was 24. And
That's how old I am right now. Take you back a little bit.
takes me back. I probably was 24 the first time I came to Miami. Then after that, maybe one or two visits. By the second visit, I know I wanted to live here.
You were locked in.
Yeah, I didn't know how I was gonna end up here and whatnot, but
One way or another.
one way or another, and a couple of years later, it was that, and ever since, I lived in New York, lived in Madrid, Spain, lived in Dominican Republic. Life has taken me here and there just for visits, mostly with family trips, nothing fancy. Not for work either, so I don't speak from work, but just from actually living on a place.
Yeah.
Miami is it for me, man. I do miss the area of Sunny Isles.
Sunny Isles is nice, yeah.
Yeah.
You used to live there?
I used to live there. I lived there for pretty much since I came to Miami.
Yeah, it's a nice spot.
With
It's
a
nice
couple
area.
of just living there, enjoying the beach with my son. My son is turning 11 years old on the 10th this month.
Oh, big boy.
Yeah, big boy.
That's awesome.
Wants a freaking gaming computer, which I am so hesitant to buy.
Yeah, he's gonna be locked in. That's the generation right there.
Yeah, because at one point, gaming is bigger than Hollywood right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, I know he sets that computer. I'm not gonna see him for the next 4 months.
Yeah, he's gonna be locked in. You know, he's gonna be locked in.
Yeah. It's like a whole new pandemic for him again. Gaining weight, or who knows.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But speaking about Miami again, I didn't appreciate Miami until I moved away. I grew up here, so I thought everywhere else was like here. I was like, this is just normal life. Living 5 minutes from the beach. Always sunny, always green, palm trees, things like that. And then I moved to Pittsburgh when I went to school, and that was a shock.
Yeah.
Right. Now you got mountains.
What's good what's good out there? What did you like about Pittsburgh? So
Pittsburgh is some
I
great
don't
things.
want some hate comments.
No hate comments. No hate comments.
Shout out to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the Steelers, man. They're actually playing tonight, first season opener, or not preseason actually. But one thing I noticed a lot that's not here in Pittsburgh is pride in the city. When there's a Steelers game, when there's a hockey game, when there's a baseball game, everybody's wearing jerseys. No matter what field you work in, you're wearing a jersey. You're wearing some Steelers gear, or you're wearing, some black and yellow.
Okay.
That's their colors. So there's a lot of pride in the city, and the people who live there and from there love the city. What was new for me was experiencing seasons.
Right.
So you had fall. Leaves started changing colors, started falling off the trees.
Oh fuck! It's getting colder.
I was like, holy shit, what's happening? Then it started getting cold. All of a sudden, it's white outside. There's snow. I didn't want to go outside. I was not prepared for that. I did not have the right clothes at all.
What you remember the first time it kind of hit you? Like oh shit.
It was actually, my friends noticed it before I did, because they're from. So I had a lot of friends from the Northeast, because that's where the school is. And during the fall, I would walk around on the sidewalk and start kicking leaves. They're like, dude, why are you doing that? I was like, I did that when I was 8. I was like, I've never seen this before.
Wow.
They're laughing at me. But then it got super cold. And trying to figure out what shoes to wear. I can't wear sneakers.
No.
Can't wear sneakers.
No. Forget they get wet.
Yeah, that's the problem. And your socks are wet. Now you're freezing. But yeah, I got used to it. I was there for 5 years.
What do they call this thing? It looks like you're just walking and going to step onto the pavement, but it's like a puddle of water, but you just cannot distinguish
the difference.
I think it's frozen. It's frozen. It's frozen ice.
Black ice.
Black ice.
Black ice.
Oh.
Because it doesn't look like ice.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're whoop.
Black ice.
You're
black
on your back. Yeah, it's called black ice.
Yeah, or like you're all the way down
Yeah.
to your mid shin or something in a puddle.
I actually fell in a pond.
No
Because
way.
it was frozen over, and I was like, ooh, that looks cool. I took a step on it and just fell right in. Oh my God. That was hilarious. I was wearing suit pants too. Oh, it was an experience.
Oh, you were dressed up.
Yeah, I was dressed up.
Jesus
It
Christ.
was like the morning.
Did it ruin your day or what? Is that a good story to tell? Or?
No, I didn't ruin my day. My friends were laughing at me.
Okay.
I'd say that because I saw a frozen pond. I was like, let's see how this works. You know.
Is it like in the movies?
Yeah, like, can I just walk across? And it just took one step. Didn't even get my second foot on, and I was already in the water.
Oh wow!
I didn't go that deep though, like, you know, up to my knees, and then jumped right out. It was cold. It was cold, but yeah, you don't have that in Miami.
No,
You don't have that in
No.
Miami. And then you know, realized the way I grew up here, you know, was totally different.
Yeah,
And that's when I really became, you know, grateful for this experience, for being raised here. So I spent 5 years in Pittsburgh, and then very easy to convince my co-founder to move down here.
good.
You know, Pittsburgh and Miami, totally different vibes.
Yeah.
But, both good in their own ways, and both bad in their own ways, if you will.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Miami's a great city. I can't be happier, and you know that. You know, I also established the businesses here, Miami Strength Club, and I actually am working with the podcast, which is a business of its own.
Right. Yeah, it totally is.
Actually, let me put it out there, man. This is a baby podcast. We barely have any. We have very faithful enthusiasts
Nice.
of a circle of people that I know, and you know, it's gonna take its time and my work to make it grow. One of the things that I want to do with it is to actually make it into a viable, you know, income
Right.
business and whatnot. So I am looking forward to promote.
I mean, you got to go all in. It's a business.
Oh yeah, it's a business.
It's a
You know.
business, and you know, that's one thing I want. You know, consistency.
Oh yeah.
That is the key to this. At least that's what, you know, the people I listen to on podcasts. That's what they talk about.
It's nothing but consistency, man. It's nothing but consistency
Yeah.
because, you know, you are there, and you know, you have to become part of people's lives.
Right.
And for me, the one thing that I definitely want to do is to add value.
Right.
Just before you arrived, my friend Fena, we did episode number 5 with her,
Nice.
which is being released in 2 weeks from now.
Nice.
Friday in 2 weeks from now. There's one episode releasing tomorrow, episode number 4,
Let's go.
being released tomorrow, with Dr. Pacheco and then Fena. But one of the things I was speaking with her is she was like, Rafa, so, you know, how's the podcast going and whatnot? And I'm thinking, listen, it's going great because it is a work of faith.
Right. Trust the process.
Yeah, I trust the process. And when I say I'm speaking from the delivery agent, but this is not only for me.
Right.
You know, this is not only for me. I have to transform, you know, my thoughts and my energy into actions. But I really want to give things, you know, put people onto a path, onto becoming stronger, you know, mentally, physically. You know, strength is a choice. You know, strength is a choice.
Absolutely.
You can't choose to be weak, because being weak is not a choice. And I'm not finger wagging here. I've been weak.
Right.
You know, I
We
know.
all have our weak moments.
Yeah, I know what that is, and even when I think I'm strong, I have points of vulnerability, and you know, just to be able to recognize that and still have the courage to move through that, in a metaphorical way, that is strength.
Right.
But also when you choose to wake up at 5 in the morning
Yeah.
and be at the gym at 5:15 right away, you know, rain or shine, that's it. You know, that's strength. That's
it.
You know, you coming here. So I want to put people into recognizing that this is not rocket science.
Simple.
There's ways to do it. I specialize on having beginners and people that are coming back from other fields of fitness, from other disciplines, that they can understand that barbells are a legit game.
Yeah.
Of getting strong and you know, and actually getting really, really good shape, feeling great about yourself, developing skills, accomplishing things, eating, you know, actually starting to eat in ways that you probably didn't think
Right.
were possible for you, because you get to eat a lot.
Yeah. When you're burning calories, you
Yeah.
can eat calories.
You know,
yeah.
you're pulling a lot of weight on these barbells, whether you realize it or not. You know, soon enough, you actually get to be pushing and pulling significant weight, and your body gets hungry.
Yes, sir.
Body gets hungry, and
Your mind gets hungry.
Your mind gets hungry. That's true.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to talk about was, you're talking about being strong, mentally strong, and making that a choice and taking control of it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it started in the gym. For me, it started in, let's get my mind right. I didn't work out for like 4 years. And I thought to myself, hey, when was I most confident? When was it? What was I doing? I was putting in the work at the gym, and that's how I started my entrepreneurship journey was, at the same time, I was like, gotta get my mind right. Get in the gym, and start putting in work. You don't even have to know what you're doing, right? You got to show up. You got to show up. You got to be consistent. And, the key to the confidence, I think, is not the gains that you're making in the gym. It's doing what you say you're going to do.
God damn it. Applause.
Yeah, yeah, dude. Like, that's what I noticed the most, is saying you're going to do something and then doing it. No matter how you feel about it, even if you feel like you're nervous about it, you're scared about it, that's where you're going to grow the most, and that's where you're going to be like, okay, I got this shit.
That's right.
That happens every time you step into the gym. Every time you step into the rack to do another lift, you're thinking about it, you're like, okay, I'm about to squat, 285 for 5 reps. All right, I'm going to do it. That's confidence building.
That's right. That's right.
And even if you fail at it, even if you get 4 reps, not 5 reps, like, you pushed, right? You pushed. And then next time you're in the gym, you're going to hit that 285 for 5.
That's right.
You're going to want to get that. You're going to find a way to do it.
You're going to find it. You're going to have, you sleep your extra hours, you eat your extra, 2 tablespoons of whatever it is, rice. Please do not go and, eat powder. Those of you who like put raw powder in your mouth, whatever kind of powder, stop doing that.
Don't do that. Eat some whole foods.
Just some whole foods. Get your supplements as they're good for you. Do your research, and you've been doing it, so don't take my word for it. But you find a way. You find a way. That's right.
And that confidence just it's compounding. Right, it's every time you accomplish that thing you said you were gonna do, and just builds and builds and builds. And you're still gonna have those moments when you're unsure, But it's knowing, hey, like through this period where I'm scared, where I'm gonna grow the most and where I'm gonna gain the most.
That's
because
right.
I'm gonna come out on the other side one way or another.
You are an exceptional case from the in the business world and entrepreneurially, because you actually take training seriously.
Very.
And you a heck as serious as anybody that I know. You take your business and your startup seriously.
Have to.
And you hear many successful people make not a compelling case, but pretty much a causal relationship between being in shape and pushing hard and being successful at business. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think they're one and the same. For me, it was, you gotta get your mind right to do business right. You gotta peak perform, right? You gotta be at your top of your game. If your body's slacking, if you're not putting the right fuel in your body, like everything works together. You're not gonna be able to pull that off, right? So it's so important to stay active, take care of your body. Like I want to be running marathons when I'm 50, 60 years old. Like I want to take care of myself so I can perform when I need to and when I want to. And so many synergies. Like everything I was just talking about, about the confidence building, about saying what you're going to do, and go through that uncomfortable period. Applies to entrepreneurship and owning a business.
That's right.
And speaking about like why I joined Miami Strength Club was because you were an entrepreneur and I got to meet you. Right, I was like, okay, I can learn from him. Right, I can learn from him because he has a business. Right. And, you can learn from everybody. And, that's another thing attracted me here as well. It's like, now I'm friends with the owner of the gym, right? And we can talk about, like, we come in the morning and we talk about the books we read last night.
Right.
Tim
Grover's book.
Tim Grover, Winning.
Yeah.
Dude, that should make you run through a brick wall. I was hyped reading that, the way he talks about winning in person, personifies it. Amazing. But yeah, I mean, for me, the first step in making the right decisions towards being an entrepreneur and running a startup was getting my body right, getting my mind right, and then making the right decisions.
That's just amazing, man. That's you see, that's a good example right there. Speaking of books,
Yeah.
I typically reference Jordan B. Peterson. 12 Rules for Life.
He just wrote a new one.
Beyond Order.
Yeah, Beyond Order.
Yeah.
I got it. I haven't opened it yet.
Oh,
Big book.
they're right up
It's
there in
out
the shelf.
There it is. I see it.
Yeah, there's 1 and 2 right there in the shelf.
That's awesome.
I'm working my way slowly through
Right.
them, and those books are easier to read
Yeah.
than other books, and I say this because there's so much footage of him, of Jordan Peterson, kind of like talking about the books and interviews.
Right.
And like if you watch his college lectures, you pretty much hear the preface to the books and this and that. And he's on TV. He has a podcast. He has done kind of pretty much like explaining every rule.
Right.
He has videos explaining every rule.
Right.
So sometimes you read about the book, and if you're a fan of him, kind of like other authors too. It's not unique situation for that. But you read the book and you're flipping through the pages, and there's something about actually reading a book that is not like watching a
Right.
video.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
Totally more engaged.
But then you start associating kind of like the different kinds of cognitive
Yeah.
association. Well, association. You have some cognitive association there,
Mm-hmm.
and it just for me, from my experience, like, wow, this is what I've been waiting for. Like,
Reading the book.
yeah, like
Yeah.
reading the book, but also the message itself. It's so uplifting, man. Because
Yeah.
I one of the things that the reason I'm sitting here right now with you is because there's one of the rules that says, imagine the best thing you can do.
And do it.
Yeah, and it
Hell
says
yeah.
orient yourself towards it and take
Yeah.
action.
Yeah, that's the same thing as like setting
Yeah.
that goal, like where you want to be and visualizing where you want to be,
Right.
and just
And it's
making
like-
the right step, taking that step towards it.
That's right. And like you start taking steps, and sometimes it's like you said, sometimes you don't necessarily don't have to understand the whole process, but you have that vision and you move through it,
Right.
and
You're gonna
that's
learn a lot.
amazing. Yeah.
And books, bro. Books have taken me to. I've learned so much from books. And then this one author, Stephen Collar. He used to be a journalist, and he wrote about the difference between reading an article / blog post and reading a book. When you read an article, that's probably about like 3 weeks of that author's life, right? That's how much work they put into that article.
Mm-hmm.
But when you read a book, you're getting somebody's life experience in 200, 300 pages. Like, that's a game changer. You're getting like 15 years, 20 years of experience from that book.
That's right.
Even in a podcast, you're getting a little snippet, right? Really diving into the book, there's so much more you can learn. And then when you're reading it, I think you're more engaged, right? Everything is silent, more of your sensors are working. Your hands are touching the pages and flipping it.
Mm-hmm.
That makes you more focused on what you're reading and helps you understand it a little better.
Yeah, the part of the brain that learns, let's just begin by experiencing it.
Yeah.
The part of the brain that allows you to be there in that moment and synthesize that, these sequences of letters and words and
Right.
and the way they are arranged and the way they sound, this and that, they carry certain meaning, and that, to begin with, for example, like the life experience,
Yeah.
you have to understand that at the very least a person that has written something went to school and learned a whole bunch of things, so you get that from that person.
Right.
It's synthesized in all of that.
Yeah.
Now there's a field of expertise. There's a whole bunch of relational benefits that you get, because now you are getting another I guess synergy
Yeah.
of the relationships of knowledge that this person has been accumulating
Right.
through his or her interactions through, academia, high school experiences, childhood experiences. For that matter, if you really want to go beyond that, you are talking about this person's family.
Right.
How they grew up, where they come from, are they refugees from another, planet?
Right. We're going there again. Yeah, for sure. And you're gaining that, 15, 20 years of experience in 5 hours.
Yeah,
When
absolutely.
you think about how long it takes you to read a book from cover to cover.
Well, hold
it's
it.
like 5,
Some
6
of us are
hours.
slow readers.
All right, 7 hours, 8 hours. No, but total. I mean, you're not doing it in one sitting. I've never
No,
read a
right.
book in one sitting, but in half a day, you're getting 15 years of experience.
Right. And you put that to some context, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is amazing. One of the authors I like a lot is Jocko Willick.
Forget
Yeah, he's
about
the
it.
man.
He's amazing.
I just got his new book, Leadership, Strategy, and Tactics.
Yeah, I heard him on. Can't remember. It was this black and white, like the footage was black and white, podcast. I'll find the link and send it to you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it because he takes practical experience
Yeah.
and pulls leadership out of it.
Somebody
and
asked him the
explains it to you.
question, like a reader.
Yeah.
I guess they were taking questions from forum or something like that.
Okay, cool.
And somebody wrote actually an interesting question. Like, look, you speak about discipline, but you think discipline is something that anybody can just kind of like apply to something. But the question embedded to be fair, the question was posed by saying, and I'm paraphrasing, like, but you don't know my history, you don't know where I've been,
Right.
you don't know who my parents were,
Right.
you don't know the bad habits that I've learned
Right.
and whatnot, and the answer that Willick gave was it really was got to my heart right away because because he said,
I'd
like,
love to hear that.
he says, and I'm gonna paraphrase,
Right.
but he spoke about people in the army, people in the armed forces, and I think he's has a marine experience.
Yeah, he's a Navy SEAL. He was a
Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
But he says, like, look, some people go into a situation and they find discipline
Mm-hmm.
by the time they have to be there, but this is not something. Discipline is not something that you find. Let's just put it this. Discipline is not something that you find somewhere. Discipline is something that is in you.
Right.
Like you can't blame mental game.
Mental game.
Mental game. You can't be finger wagging at your parents. You can't be just self victimizing yourself out of some sort of circumstances. Like if you let's just say, like me, I'm a slow reader. I'm not even kidding about that. I read probably slower than other people, which is why my academic life wasn't a shiny one. Let's put it that way.
Hey, you're still an entrepreneur though.
Yeah,
I'll give you
look,
that.
I love learning, and
Right.
my curiosity will allow me to always,
Always be learning.
be learning and finding blah blah. But you sit me down to read a book, and I'm gonna take a sweet time with it.
That's good. Take your time, bro.
Yeah, I
you
take
gotta,
my time.
You gotta absorb that. It's for you reading.
But then
right?
again, I can't blame my slow reading onto
Not reading.
not reading.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. That's taking control of what you can
Yeah.
control.
What's his name? Ownership.
Extreme ownership.
Extreme ownership.
Yeah, that's
Right.
the name of his book. Control what you can control, and own up to your decisions. and
Right.
what you're
So
making.
that's something that I echo. Because that's exactly what he answered with. Like,
Right.
look, you take ownership.
Yeah.
Like what? Okay. So right. That was your circumstance, but at some point you're gonna have to own it. What's somebody else's life and what's your life, and what are you gonna do? Like, what are you really gonna do? You have to own it.
Yeah, and you gotta. To me, it's finding the strength with it. Taking it and turning it into something that sets you apart from people.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I went through this struggle. I came out stronger. Now I know a little bit more than my competition. I can apply it differently. Instead of using the victim mentality of I can't go further because of this.
Yeah.
Right, and that's, to me, it's a lot about taking control. Taking control of what you can control, and what you can't control, accepting it.
Right.
There's certain things you can't control.
Yeah.
You can't control if traffic happens. You can't control if I sent out an email today that's supposed to be very good for us, but I can't control what's going to come on the other side. I did everything I can to control to get it out and do it right, and put my best foot forward.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
And hopefully that gets the job done. Right.
Good. Well, good luck with that, with the outcome
Thank
of that.
you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
And but that's it. That's amazing.
That ties right back into the gym.
It does. I mean,
take control, show up.
The gym, and you know what? Real quick, because you kind of saw that happening, but from a respectable, kind of like you in your day and me in my day. And but roughly a few, I don't know, what is it, 12, 16 months ago.
Okay.
A year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I have a beautiful relationship with Anna.
Yeah.
And she has her kid, Sophia. I have my son, Kai. And, we're living a beautiful life that way. And now, a year and a half later, we have Lola. Now we're a family of 3.
There you go.
And,
It's
life changes. Yeah.
Yes.
Life changes. You have to find the courage to improve yourself.
Right.
Improve yourself. And I bring family in it because, not everyone has kids. But
right.
like a lot of people have, their parents. A lot of people have people they look up to, with love and fondness and the people that support you, the people that you support.
Right.
That's family. And it is the gym, but it's also the kind of drive.
You're doing it for them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing it for them, the people you love, right? You want to make them proud.
It's 4:20, 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I wake up.
Oh, you're up before me, man. You're trying to hype me up. You're up before me.
And sometimes I think I have that my feet weight more than the rest of my body.
Yeah.
Because I get up, and when I swing those legs out of the mattress, boom, I put my feet on the ground. And I don't mean that metaphorically. Literally, I put my feet on the ground, and then I twist my body, and I'm up.
You're up. I do the same thing, bro.
It's nothing to think about.
Yeah. Your feet hit the ground, get up.
You get up, your feet hit the ground.
That's a mental win right there.
That's right.
That's a win. That's how you start your day, with a win.
My backpack? You know where I put my backpack?
Right next to your bed?
Right next to my bed.
Grab it and go.
You grab it and go.
I love it.
It's like, and this is a little bit descriptive, but I think there's some graphical value here. I get up, I go into my bathroom, take my shower, that. I already have my coffee.
Ready to go. Got on timer.
Well, not that much, but like my grinder.
Okay, yeah.
Because I do my French press.
You
and
make
whatnot.
a good coffee. I know you don't play around with your coffee. I don't play around with that
coffee. Which is another part of hey, what kind of processes do I want to put myself?
And you budget that in your routine, right?
Right.
You have to wake up 10 minutes earlier to make your coffee.
That's right. And
absolutely.
Now, for example, and I know this sounds trivial, but this is the kind of thing that you have to prepare for.
Yep.
Now that we have a tiny baby in the house, and mommy whose hours and minutes of sleep are supremely valuable.
Right.
Yeah, maybe even more than before, because there's, and for me too, but for all of us, but she's doing an exceptional job.
Yeah.
I knew that grinding the coffee the same way I was doing it before is not a go.
Right.
But I don't want to forgo my coffee.
You gotta have your coffee.
So what do? I find a towel that wraps around the grinder in a safe way, and that kind of mutes the whole.
That's good. I was thinking you were gonna do it the night before.
No,
you gotta have fresh.
No,
you gotta have the fresh coffee. I got you.
Why? No,
no way, man.
So
I might as well make the coffee the night before.
But what I'm thinking about is that what I'm trying to say is that you don't. This is a pedestrian, very pedestrian type of example. but it exemplifies
It's real,
in the
though.
minimum
Yeah.
something that you can do in something at a greater scale, which is prepare.
Yeah.
Prepare. I mean, you don't have to give up something that you love just because you're going somewhere else that you want to be.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's, and that's taking control.
That's taking control.
That's taking control.
That's
It's being
right.
prepared.
Um,
Making those, people call them sacrifices. I try to call them investments. Right? That's something I'm trying to do more, right? I'm not sacrificing. It's got a negative connotation to it,
yeah.
Well, I'm investing. You're investing those extra, 30 minutes to wake up early, investing in yourself, right? And
It's huge.
Right. It's huge. And, that's, investing time, investing resources,
Yeah.
No one's making me wake up at 5.
No one is making anybody wake up.
Right.
That's like, look, even if you say like, oh, but I have bills to pay and blah blah. Well, those are your bills. Those are
Right.
your choices. I mean, you can cancel Netflix.
Right. You can start finding ways to
I mean, look, I have nothing against Netflix. If you want to binge watch, I've done it myself.
it's okay here and there.
Float your boat is your life. But what I'm saying is, yeah, it's like you say, it's not so much of a sacrifice rather than an investment. And nobody makes anybody wake up.
Right. And that's just a mind shift, just a different perspective on, how can you find joy in those things, going to sleep early. It's an investment, so I can wake up early and invest in myself.
And it pays right away. Lior, it pays right away. I tell you. Look, I am appreciative, for example, of sleep, because the amount of energy for me, they used to be like there all day long throughout the day.
Energy.
Yeah. At 42, I take care of myself. I eat my veggies one way or another.
Right. And eat your meat.
And
too.
I eat my meat, and and I don't have any substance abuse.
Right.
Don't abuse substances.
Don't do it. It's not good for you.
But and I don't want to present myself here with there's no halo, okay? I enjoy whiskey, I enjoy a beer, I enjoy fine wine with fine dining, and I cook all the time, and I drink while I cook. A glass here and there, whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's no sainthood, and again, you don't have to give up something that you enjoy if it is good for you to just go to another place. That, but again, like the energy is not all the time there. When you sleep, it's not there's no substitute for it.
Sleep's so important.
Sleep's so important,
and that's why I go to sleep early. Because I know I want to wake up at 5. I gotta get my 8 hours.
Yeah.
Or at least 7. And and to me, nothing productive really happens after like 9 p.m. But I don't know. For you, I feel like you keep going.
Me after 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes 9 p.m. is the time I finish here at the gym.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not so much productive.
You're here. I don't know if you're productive.
Right. Sometimes, which is a shame. It's a shame. I wish I had. No, you know what? No. It's not so much when it depends. It depends the vibe that I'm vibing on.
Right.
Let's just put it that way. Because guess what? Sometimes I just like, okay, gym's closed, and I open the computer and I start doing this. I start doing that. I start writing a little bit.
Yeah.
I start doing a little bit of research, because this is how slowly but surely this whole thing happened.
Right.
You saw me build.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it move around a couple times.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
and
I mean, it's amazing to see the production you got going on here.
Yeah.
You're doing some good work. You set a good foundation, and excited to see where you take it, man.
Thank you.
And I'm happy and honored to be part of this.
Absolutely.
So that's very cool.
Thank you. I think is there anything, any messages, any final comments? I think we've had a great time here, and
yeah, absolutely. We dove into some great topics.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, final comments is really, start by taking control. Taking control of, your actions. and don't blame anybody else. Really win that mental battle. You know, like we said, you know, as soon as you put your feet up on the floor in the morning and you get up, that's a win, right? You know, that's your first win. And, you know, you win every single day, turns into a week, turns into a month, turns into a year, and you do it again, and you do it again, and you keep winning, and your progress just keeps going.
That's right.
And, you know, another thing on top of that is just always be learning, which you talked about as well. Love that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Lior, I think we might have to do this again.
I'm definitely down, man. This is awesome. Yeah.
Where can people find you? How can they get tell us about your company's website, about how to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can check us. You can check our company out at envonics.com. So that's ENVONICS.com. You can check us out on LinkedIn at Envonics. And then you can find me on Instagram, Lior Barhai _. So it's LIORBARHAI _. I post a lot there.
Awesome. Let's get some PRs. Let's grab a workout now.
Yeah, let's go do a squat real quick.
Thanks,
awesome, man. Yeah, it's been a great time. I really do appreciate it.
All right. Peace.
If you enjoy this podcast and would like to support the channel by continuing to listen to our podcast releases and short clips, consider subscribing. It will help a lot to continue to bring interesting guests that promotes our vision of helping people become stronger so that they can lead better lives for themselves and the people around them.